In this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create your entire website in Kajabi. If you weren't aware, Kajabi has every tool that you need to build an online coaching business, to create the products, the marketing, and your website all in one place. So today I'm going to show you how to build your website so that you don't have to be one of those course creators and coaches that's having to manage multiple platforms to run your business. You can do everything you need in one place, Kajabi. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Nicole of the Systemized CEO. I'm your new Kajabi best friend, and I help industry experts monetize their hard-earned expertise into digital programs and products and do it all in one place, Kajabi. And if you're now wondering if Kajabi might be the perfect platform for you to build, grow, and scale your online coaching business, let me ease that worry and say, yes, it is, but also give you a link to have Kajabi access to your own free account for 30 days. That's more than what Kajabi will give you on their free trial. You can try out everything you need in Kajabi for a free 30 days using my link below. Okay, let's hop into the video. I'm super excited to show this to you. All right, so if you're new to my videos, you may not know that I love to create implementation guides because it's the teacher in me really that I can't just give you all these steps to go ahead and do this on your own without giving you something that's gonna help you implement the steps with ease. So in the link below, you're gonna find this resource with my Kajabi website Kickstart guide. It's going to walk through kind of the main components of your website, what the website menu contains in Kajabi, so you know the different spaces, recommended steps to get going, and also some tutorials. So let me walk you through this and we'll kind of use this side by side so you can see how I'm going to use this guide as I implement the steps in real time. Okay, beauty. So on this website Kickstart guide, first thing I want to point out is that your main purpose of your website is to attract the right fit people into your funnel. Okay, I've seen way too many of my client websites where someone set it up for them, or it's on a different website, or they kind of just got started, and it is really, they're using it as a digital business card. Not what your website needs to do. It's also not your online resume where it just goes over all of your accolades and all of your hard-earned expertise, not what people need to read first off. It's also not an online shop where you just have a list of offers for people to go and buy. You have to think of this from the viewer perspective. They land on your website, maybe they found you from another source. They might not be ready to buy, but they're interested. So the first thing that you want them to do is enter into your funnel, and I'll tell you how they're going to do that in a moment. But that is the goal, to have them enter into your funnel, which means they're on your email list. So then you can spend some time sending them emails, nurturing them, asking them questions, and for them to get to know you, your methodologies, and then your offers. Okay, so like I stated here, your main purpose is to attract the right fit people into your funnel. Your site is the space where your viewers learn exactly who you help and how without needing to scroll a bunch. Additionally, your site should provide a helpful tool, that's usually a lead magnet, to solve a specific in-demand problem within the first 5 seconds of being on your site. Those are your goals for your website. Okay, so I wanted to give you a place to aim and know what your goal is in building out your website. Okay, so now let's go into this section here. This is your Kajabi website menu. This is actually mirroring, let me go ahead and open my Kajabi space over here. This is mirroring, if I open up Kajabi, you're gonna find your website menu on the left-hand side. And you can see there's 6 spaces in that website menu. And that's what you're gonna find right here. One to give you a little explanation of each one. And I'll go over that right now. So in the Kajabi website area or the menu, the first thing you have is your design. The design is the template that you're selecting to use, essentially your overall website theme. Next are your website pages. So once you've selected a theme, you're going to have some system pages, which means Kajabi is providing you kind of your main navigation pages for you to build out. Next, you have landing pages, which are highly flexible, essentially blank pages that you can use to build anything you want. These are the pages usually used in funnels. Funnels means that there's one goal. So for example, a lead magnet funnel, the only goal is for someone to opt in for that lead magnet, exchanging their name and email address for that tool. That is using landing pages. Same thing goes for sales pages. There's one goal on that sales page is for someone to take action on the sale. And so the landing pages can be very straightforward without a bunch of navigation to other places in your website. Next, you have your navigation. This is actually where you set up your links that you want to be at the top of your website, as well as any links you want to be in the footer. And next is a blog. So within Kajabi, you also get to have a full functioning blog, which means you're going to have a page that has your blog summary with all of your blog posts and individual blog post pages that can be designed to be consistent. Next, you have your branded app. If you're ready for your business to be used on the go, maybe you have the type of coaching or products that are really helpful for people on the go, you might want to look into Kajabi's branded app. Kajabi is very special in a sense that you can create your own branded app, fully yours, with no Kajabi branding or anything on it, for people to download from their app store through Kajabi. So your entire backend is Kajabi, but the front end for the customer looks fully like you had a developer team build this for you. Okay, so that's the Kajabi website menu. Next, we have recommended steps. So I have 8 steps here from you, and they're done in a specific order so that you don't get into the design phase of this and think, oh, I need to set a couple things up first. This recommended steps is going to help you make sure that you are doing this in an order that's going to be conducive to your success and building the website that you need. So the first step I want to point out, and you might not want to hear this, but I'm telling you this because I'm your friend, even online, way over here in Kentucky. The first thing you need to do is create your lead magnet funnel, also known as your lead funnel or an opt-in funnel. This is your main area that people are going to turn from viewers or strangers into an owned audience, meaning like you own your communication between you and them. You need to have a lead magnet funnel set up because you're going to be pointing everything in your website, or almost everything, every button on there, to that lead magnet. Remember, the main purpose of your website is to make sure people can enter into your funnel easily and be added to your email list easily. So you want to create that first. If you have not created your lead magnet funnel, no worries. I've already created a step-by-step tutorial video to show you how to set this up in Kajabi in 4 steps. Also providing you a checklist and some AI prompts so you know exactly what words to put on your funnel pages so that people know that it's right for them. So click on this link right here. You're going to have everything you need to set that up first. You can do it very quickly, then return to this page when you're ready to build out the rest of your website. All right, so next I want to make sure that you have set up your site settings. In site settings, you can set your overall brand colors and your logo. Let's do that right now. So step 2 is to set up those site settings. So I'm going to go over on the left-hand side in the bottom left corner, go to settings, and let's open this up here a little bit more. And you're going to find your site details. So clicking on site details, you want to make sure your title is named appropriately. You can scroll down, and we're going to come back to this homepage after your entire website is built. But I want you to go down to the section called branding. This is where you can update your logo. It's a square logo. They recommend 640 by 640. So you can create that in a tool like Canva, where you can create the size dimension that you need, 640 by 640. Create your logo, then you're going to download that as a transparent background or no background, and you can upload it right here. Once you have that logo, you also want to have a favicon. A favicon is just that little browser icon that you can see when you've opened a new tab on a new website, and that is recommended at 32 by 32. However, Canva can only go down to 40 by 40, which totally works for a favicon, so upload that here as well. Next, go ahead and add your brand colors. By clicking on each square, you can just enter in the exact hex code, which hex codes just mean your digital color or digital palette. You can use tools like Coolors, Coolors, as a palette generator. You also can see a palette generator on Canva. So enter in your hex codes by just copy pasting them here for each of your brand colors. That way, when you go to design anything on your website, website, these are the colors that are going to be popping up for you to select, making sure all of your brand colors are consistent from page to page. Okay, so those are the main site details. All right, let's look at the next step here for recommended steps. We've talked about creating your lead funnel and setting up your site settings or site details. And I also want to make sure that you have decided on your stock photo source. One of the ways you can really tell between an amateur and a more professionally styled website is that all of the image look consistent. They have consistent texture, consistent objects in the photos, and also consistent coloring and brightness. So you want to choose one source. There's lots of copy-free images out there, but I want to make this as easy as possible for you. So I'm going to recommend using Canva. Canva has an entire stock library of these photos that you can use completely copy-free. And also in Canva, you can go ahead and set up those dimensions that you need for that specific image on your web page and then add in a picture there. So make sure you have your stock photo source. My recommendation is Canva. Next, you want to select your website template. So this is the really fun part. I'm going to scoot this over again. Let's go back into Kajabi. We're going to open up website and we're going to go to design. Now here's a little behind the scenes. If I scroll down here on my site design, you can see I've designed my website several times, redesigned it with different themes. As my business has grown and evolved and actually got more and more narrow on exactly what I do and who I help, I felt the need and excitement to recreate my website to focus in on exactly who I want to speak to. Now, I find creating websites really fun and creative, so you don't need to do this. You can just pick one website theme and update that theme as it goes. But notice that you can have multiple designs set up here, and these are not my live sites. So you can actually select a template, design the entire thing, and then when it's ready to go, you select these triple dots to select set to live. Then this template will be your live one. So know that, again, you can design an entire theme. People are not going to be coming to that theme and seeing it like in the process of being designed. They won't even see it until you have selected this set to live. All right, so let's say you don't have any of these ready yet, and it's time for you to select a new template. What I want you to do is notice at the top here is you can go to the Kajabi template store. This is where you're going to find third-party vendors who have designed websites specifically for Kajabi website templates. Really fun for you to go look. If you find any of the Kajabi templates, which we're going to browse in a moment, that are really not for you, know that you have an entire template store to go browse through, and then you can pull in those zipped files by uploading a new theme into your Kajabi site. But let's say you're starting off, let's make it really easy. Let's go to browse templates here. So these are the Kajabi provided templates. The streamline home is as blank as you can get. Okay, so if you're like, I'm going to create everything from scratch, but I don't really want to code, you can use this streamline home. Next, we have reach. I really like this one. It's really clean. Carl is the one that's used in most Kajabi tutorials in Kajabi University. So you'll see this one over and over. We have Rise here. That's a lot of pictures, so very editorial-like. Serenity, we have Hopper here. That's a lot of color. We also have Amalia. This is more personal branding, I feel. If you have a strong personal brand or if you want to create that, you can use this one. We have Kim, which is used for fitness coaches, and you can use it for anything. It's just the template that you like. Get Creative, so more graphic or design work. And we have Taylor and Prosper. Taylor and Prosper are probably the ones that are used the most in Kajabi, but even if you see someone else with a similar template, your website will look completely different than theirs with all of the editing that I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment. So to move forward here, I would love to use Prosper so you can kind of see what this looks like. So when you click on a template, you're going to be able to preview the home page, and you can see this has a really nice big hero section at the very top, and you'll notice it has one button here. Let me solve this mystery for you. This button is probably to a lead magnet because that is the #1 goal of your site. We have a couple featured in logos here that we can add, and we have another section. We have another section for a lead magnet. And so level up your skills. So these are kind of probably blog posts maybe. We have about the creator here, some testimonials here. We also have, these are probably blog posts or maybe his actual offers or digital offers here. And then again, another lead magnet. So there is a space for people to learn more about the offers. So you can think of this as kind of your mini shop, but you can see the main purpose, 1, 2, 3 places where the lead magnet is the driving action here. Something else I want to point out is that if you notice, these are like a layered sandwich. These are website sections. So we have the hero section, we have this small gray section, we have this white section. This is probably 2 sections here because this looks like a separate section. We have another one right here, another gray section. This is probably a separate section with the testimonials, or maybe it's the same section where they added testimonials below. But just know your website is set up like a layered sandwich. Those are your sections, and in each section you can add different elements such as text, a button, testimonial quotes are also known as features. These are just elements that you can add to a section. Okay, let's dive into the fun part here. I'm going to add this template, or select this template. It's going to process here and show me my design ready to go. While that's processing, I'm going to bring us back over to our checklist here. So we have selected your website template. Now we're going to create navigation menu. So we're going to create the menus for what links do we want at the top, what links do we want at the bottom. Let's do that next. So notice on the bottom here with my saved templates, here's this template that I selected, but it's not currently set as live, right? So if I hover over this, it's saying, hey, you can set this as your live template when you're ready. But if I'm not ready to set it as live, I can still preview it and customize the entire thing before it's ever set for anyone in the public to be able to access. So before we go in and start customizing our website pages, we're going to create those navigation links. So find over on the left-hand side, find menu, and we're going to open up the navigation menus. Kajabi is amazing in the fact that you can actually create customized menus that you can pull in any place you want. So for example, if you have a sales page that has multiple sections, it's a really long form sales page, you can create a custom menu with links that will just go on that page that will lead people to the different sections on their sales page. So if you've ever been on a sales page before and you click on one of those navigation links such as pricing, and it drops down to the pricing section on that page, that creator was using custom menu links. So that's the exciting part of menus inside of Kajabi. To keep this really simple, I want you to focus on the main menu here. This is just your main website menu. And actually Kajabi has done a lot of the work for us. We have home, about, blog, resources, and contact. And you're actually going to be able to add a product if you want this to go directly to a product. I would not recommend this because this is public facing, so people would not be able to access that product without logging in, right? You can go to a page. This is referencing either a website page or a landing page. So if I select this one, I can name this whatever I want. So if I wanted this to say maybe about Nicole, then I'm going to search for the linked object. So am I searching for a website page or searching for a landing page? Doesn't matter. All of my pages are going to be listed here for me to link to. So for example, if I wanted to link people directly to my main lead magnet, which could be my 90-minute Kajabi setup checklist, I could click that. And actually I want to change that name, right? So this might be my Okay, and you can also see there's a button here to make it visible to logged in users only. I never select this because we are building our website for public facing first. So if I click this and save, now I have this menu link added to my main menu. I can hover over these dots to slide it wherever I want. Okay, so you can go ahead and set up your main menu for the pages that you want to be in your top navigation link, your header link, your header section. The other thing I want you to look at is the footer menu. So what pages, what links do you want in your footer? In mine, personally, I have my privacy policy, which is just my landing page that has my privacy policy legal terms on it. I also have my terms and conditions policy. Again, just a landing page that has that same legal copy on it. I have my disclaimer page, same thing, landing page with just a bunch of text and copy on it. And then I also have my link to my free 30-day Kajabi trial because I want people to be able to access that free 30-day trial. If they wanted to get started with Kajabi and they don't want to do the 14-day, they can see the 30-day access link here. So notice that these are each pages, but notice that this is a URL link, which means it's directing people to another website somewhere else, not on my website. How did I do that? I'm going to click the add button and we have the three options again, right? So add product, add page, or add link. If you add a link, you can have people, you can put in the title and just add your URL here. A lot of times for my clients, they have sales calls or discovery calls. They want people to easily book. And it's maybe through a platform like Honeybook, a CRM, or Calendly. And so those are URLs that are off of Kajabi. And so I would just put in their URL link right here and title it wherever I want. So I'd like book a call or chat with name of my coach that I'm working with. And so that way it's a really easy way for them just to go directly to that other site with the URL. So that's what I want you to set up is your main menu and your footer. And we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, coming back to our recommended steps here, we have just completed step 5, which is those navigation menus. Next, we actually get to design the main pages. Now, I'm going to scroll down to the next page on this guide because I wanted to give you a really clean list of my recommended pages you actually need to design to have a complete website. But note that you don't have to have every single one of these. So for example, if you don't have a page that has all of your offers on it yet, totally fine. Also, if you don't have your blog and blog posts going, if you don't have a blog going yet, you also didn't need to set this up. What I'm going to make sure that you really need is your home, about page, your login and library, which is the page that people go to log in and access the digital products and programs they purchase for you. And then the library is what they see once they log in. So it's the place where they have their products and programs from you. And then this 404, I always put this for my clients to know, this is your, oops, a link is broken, because it's inevitable to happen at some point. And you don't want them just to go to a random broken link page. Kajabi will automatically send them to your 404 page, which you can have it nicely branded and redirect them to another spot on your website. So if you want them to go back to a home page or book a call with you, or maybe a certain blog post that's really popular, you just want to redirect them on that 404 page. So these are our main website pages. Let's go down and understand the Kajabi website designer so you can see what I'm going to show you in Kajabi next. So in the Kajabi website designer, on every page, if it's a website page, a system page, or a landing page, you're going to have two sections in the designer panel on the left, which is your sections, the actual sections on your page, and the settings for inside of that page. So on those two components, you're going to be able to change a couple things and make the page your own. On your sections, like I said, remember your page is built like a layered sandwich. Those are the sections, and you'll see them listed inside of your page designer. And in each section, you can have these elements for content elements. So these content blocks of anything you want: text, images, videos, buttons, call to actions, timers, carousels, testimonials. Anything you want to put in that section is you just add a content block or content element. The settings is where you change your favicon, the little icon that goes up in the browser. And also it's where you update the font that's going to be consistent across your entire website. So you can change the font type and also the font size. So that's in your page settings. So let's go ahead and dive into designing a page so you can see exactly how this designer works. And that's the main purpose of this video, is to show you how the Kajabi website designer tool works. Because once you've figured out those pieces, you can go wild and design every page that you need. So let's slide our guide over here and dive back into Kajabi. And let's find our website here. We're going to go to website pages now. We've selected our template and now our pages are ready. Now the pages that you're going to find here are the pages that are currently set to as your live template. So the template that I had selected is not the template that is in my current website pages. So let me go back to design and go into that template, acting as if I want to design this entire template, and then I will set it as live. So to do that, I'm going to go into customize here, the little paint palette. And here we are. We are officially in the Kajabi website designer tool. On the left-hand side, here are the two sections I just pointed out on the guide. We have your page sections and the page settings. Okay, so the sections, just like that layered sandwich, we have each section of this page. And notice how they are actually labeled with what is the important part of that page. So the template does a lot of things. It does a lot of design for you, but it also tells you what actually goes in that section. It's not just like random blocks pieced together. I want to point out that you have your header here. So if you want to change the header, it's at the top here. And also you have the footer down below. Okay, let's go to this section at the top. I'm going to point out what you can find in the top menu of your website designer. So you have this drop-down menu here. These are all of your website pages that you can easily navigate between. So if you're designing your homepage and you're ready to move on to a next page and you've hit saved, then you can go directly to the next page you want to work on, which could be maybe your blog summary page or maybe even your about page. So just know these are all the main pages that you can work through first if you don't have any funnels to set up in addition to that lead magnet funnel. All right. Also, you have some layouts, some different device layouts. I recommend always looking at your desktop layout to design, but then checking the layout in the mobile view so you can make sure what you have will still work for a mobile device. If you ever find that what you've designed in desktop does not really work in mobile, maybe the spacing or the image or anything, you can actually duplicate this. So for example, if I said, I really don't like how his face is cut off right here, I would want to change this. What you can do, I'd go back to desktop here. This is the hero section. I'm going to duplicate this hero section. Okay. And anything that you add new to a page, any section is going to drop to the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just rename this for Hero Mobile. Okay, and then I can hover over these double lines to move any of the layers in the sandwich to wherever space I want. So I'm going to scroll up to the top here, and now I have a Hero Regular and a Hero Mobile. But if you can see here, I've just doubled it. That doesn't look great, right? So what we can do is we can say, for this hero, the main hero section, if I click on it, I now can access desktop layout and mobile layout. So this main hero section here, I'm going to open up my mobile layout and say hide this on mobile. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back to my sections here. And so for this mobile one, I'm going to hide this one on desktop. So if I click on the Hero Mobile, go to desktop and click hide section, now it's gone from desktop view. Okay, so I wanted to show you that because that's a lot of things, a lot of times creators get hung up on how do I make this look good for both the desktop and mobile. A lot of times you just need to tweak something in a section and make that section specifically for your mobile view, hiding it from desktop, and then doing the same thing, hiding that mobile view from desktop and hiding your desktop from mobile. So that's how you can kind of change up the sections for different devices. I wanted to get that out there first because that really hangs up people. Okay, let's go back to our checklist here. And what we're going to work through first is making sure that we have our settings set up and then working on our sections. So on the page here on the left-hand side, we're going to go into settings, and let me just show you, we have the favicon. So this is where you're going to upload that favicon file, that 40 by 40. Once you have that done, you can go to your style guide and just notice that your main primary color is going to be pulled into your colors here. So you can click on the color block here and you can see your brand colors should be the ones that pop up. So if you want to change this to a different brand color, here's where you can do that. You can upload a background image. I don't recommend this. This is for your entire page, so no bueno. Keep going down and update the colors if you want. The button background color doesn't really matter because you can change the background color on the page. However, I do highly recommend having all of your buttons the same color. You do not want a bunch of random colors for your button. Next, go ahead and look at your button style. If you like this square look, this is when you have a radius of 0. If you wanted it more rounded for all of your buttons, it's going to be consistent with all of your buttons. You can change that here and hit save. And this is going to change the button look for all of your buttons across the page, just like that. Okay, so that is your border radius, changing that. And because we're in the page settings, it's going to be consistent across your entire page. Moving down here, this is where you can update your font. So you have your body font here, your normal weight, which means it's not bolded. The line height usually works perfectly, no changes there. And then you have your heading font. So you really only have 2 fonts that you can have in Kajabi without doing a bunch of custom font codes, okay? So something I definitely always recommend is you can change your heading weight here. I always change that to normal because you can make it bolded if you want. Okay, so I'm going to click save, and we're already starting to change this page slightly to be more like what you want. Your heading font, you can update that if you want all of your heading to be the same. I don't recommend, and also you can change that per block. You can change any of the colors you want per block. Okay, let's move on here. Those are the main settings I want you to find. If you have any custom coding that's going on in the template, maybe a template that you purchased or custom code that you saw in another video or another tutorial that you want to implement on this page, this is where you're going to find your custom code blocks here. And you can open this up to even see Kajabi templates sometimes have custom coding here. Going back to sections, let's dive in and have fun. The first thing I want you to do is set up your header. When you set up your header on a systems page like one of these, it's going to be consistent across all of them. That is the beauty about using your website system pages versus your landing pages for your main website pages. So clicking on header here, let's see what we have available. On the left-hand side, notice this is something newer where you can enable a cart. So if I add this here and click save, now it has my image going over, so we can see it right here. Kajabi now allows you to have a cart. So if people come to a place where they can purchase multiple products or multiple programs, they can actually add it to a cart like Amazon. So just know that that is new. It's kind of fun to have there. Let's look further at the details just about your header. So you have your header text options. So when you add your menu down here, it's going to be this color. You can also have a header background color. If you like the way that this image is going over all the way to the top, how this is happening is using an overlay here and no color on your header. So the overlay means that this picture is overlaying over the header. You can also have a sticky header, so whatever your header is, and if you want to continue to have it go with the person that's scrolling, you can click on sticky header, which means it'll always be at the top of the page no matter where they've scrolled to in the page. Okay, let's look at the elements that are currently in this header. We have the logo, which is placed right here as a white logo. So you can see it's white here. You can update this by uploading a new file. And notice anywhere in the Kajabi website builder, if you have a place where you can upload an image, there's going to be this really faint little eye right there. If you hover over the eye, it's going to give you suggested dimensions for you to go recreate that in something like Canva. So you don't have to guess like what size this needs to be. Here's a pro tip. I always recommend going up a little bit higher on both the width and the height in Canva before you pull it and create it and then pull it into Kajabi. I always like to go a little bit higher so you have a better resolution than going directly on this number. So for example, for this one here is recommending 360 by 80. I like to go a little bit higher, like 600 by 300, because you can always resize that down below. Let me show you where to resize that. So your logo image width, any image will have a place for you to adjust the width, which means it will automatically adjust the height for you. So if I wanted this logo to be bigger, I'm going to say 200 here. Okay, you can see it automatically goes larger here. If I wanted it to be smaller, maybe 130, it'll drop down for me like that. Okay, so that's how you can adjust sizes of images in Kajabi. Moving down here, if you want it just to be text, maybe you don't want an image, you can just put your text right here. And you can change your logo type between image and text here. All right, going back up here, we have the logo. Let's move down to menu. So here's the menu. This is where we're going to select main menu, the one that you just set up here, and you're going to click save. And now you have that wonderful menu that you wanted at the top of your website just by selecting the main menu that you've already set up. Okay. All right, moving on here, we have logo, we have menu. It also has a user menu. I don't really recommend needing a user menu on your public facing site. Instead of having this user menu, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And instead, I'm going to add a different content block or content element to this header section. And the one I'm going to add is a call to action. I'm going to make it a button here. So if I have someone come to my site and I know that they need a space or a place to log in to their portal that they already have purchased items in, then I'm going to make it really easy for them here. And so your site login, this is where you're going to put in your URL, which means you actually need to have your URL created. And you're going to be like whatever your name of your URL is. So mine is thesystemiceo.com/login. That's going to bring you to your login page. So you're going to put your login page URL right here. And I always suggest opening it to a new tab in case they need to go back to your website for some reason. You can adjust this button here. So if you don't want it to be just like the rest of them, you can adjust your background color, your text color. You can also make it a full width of that entire block, which it's pretty close to the block itself, the width. You can also change it just to be an outline. Sometimes that looks kind of cool. If it's over an image though, kind of hard to see. So I'll go back to solid. You can change your button size from small, medium, and large. You can also change that border radius, but we set it already up in the settings, and then the text alignment. Okay, so know that is where you can change anything about a call to action. I'm going to hit save and we'll go back, and that is our header. So our header is now officially set up, and now we can go to the hero section. So in this hero section, you can see when I open up a section, it's going to tell me what are the content blocks in that section or content elements. All I have right here is a text box. And you might be thinking, Nicole, I see a text box and a button. That's because every single text block in Kajabi allows you to enable a call to action with that text block. So if I click into the text block, I can also always just click right on the text block to change any of the text I want in here. And if I scroll down on the left-hand side, the very first block setting I can go into is a call to action. So if I click that open drop-down menu, you can see that I now am able to include a call to action, which is already checked. If I were to uncheck that, that removes the button completely. So every single text block in your Kajabi website, you can have a button with the text block or not. So I'll add that back there. And here's the fun part. I can add the get started. I can change that text to grab this tool, or yes, I want this template. And we are leading people to the lead magnet, the opt-in page. That's why you want to have it set up first, because you want to make sure you can direct people immediately to opt in to whatever tool you might be talking about in this subtext here. So at the very top header here, you want to say the desired outcome of your people. So for example, here, this says, let's get serious about your money. That's actually what the outcome that the people want. That is what you want your header to be, so that people know immediately, what is this website about and how is this going to help me? Next, it says my step-by-step system will help you take control of your finances. So instead of step-by-step system, you can say this one-page checklist will immediately show you what you need to get in order first. And then they can get started by, here's your checklist, grab the checklist here. Right? So you want to give them immediately to a tool that's going to help them a very specific in-demand problem without ever having to scroll. That's the whole point of a hero section. So by clicking on that button again, I'll go back to call to action. This is where you can change the text. This is where you can change your button action. See the button actions here. So your call to action or your button can go to a checkout page, it can download a file, it can go to a URL, it can go to a two-step opt-in pop-up. So if you clicked on this and it would pop up your opt-in form, that is an option. Pop-up checkout, that's pretty fun now that we have. Add to cart, it can go to a different section on this page. So if you clicked on get started, it can drop down to the section where it talks more about that tool. You can also open a module, so a different kind of pop-up or an action you want to happen with this button. Something else I want to show you is that you can go to a landing page. So usually your lead magnet is created using a landing page. And so when you select landing page, now you get to go through all of your landing pages and find the one that you want. So maybe it's this one right here. So if I click on that, now they're going to go directly to that opt-in landing page, be able to opt in, which is the whole point of your website. Okay, if I haven't said that 10 times, it's not enough yet. All right, so scrolling down here, that's everything with your button, right? So we have our text block here, and let's move down to a page that has social proof logos. This is just what they named the section. You can rename any section by clicking here. And inside of this section, we have text, which is this right here, and we have an image. So someone has just created all of these logos into one long image and uploaded this image. You can see that this is just an image block right here, and this is the text. You can always have your image be linked somewhere else, kind of like a button, but we don't really want to recommend that unless it's very clear that this is a button. All right, let's continue here. We'll go down to this section. I'm going to go back to all the sections so you can see where we're at. Hero, we have our social proof logos. Now we have the get started section. So I can always just click into this section to see what the text blocks are or the content blocks are. And I also can click into this section to change any of the spacing. So I want to bring your attention down to the section settings. Notice how it's different than a content block setting. So if I clicked on a specific content block and I scroll down here to block settings, these are the settings within the block. If I click away to more of the outside open space, I am now referencing the section, the whole section's settings. So if I want to change the background of this whole section, this is where I can go to background and I can first select the media type. So right now there's no background media, meaning no video or image. If I want to change it to an image or video, I'm going to select that media type here. Then I can upload the image that I want right here. Again, hovering over this icon to see what the recommended dimensions are. And then I want you to notice that you can have a color kind of go over your background. So if I go back to up here, just as a reference point, if I click on this picture, this is a background for the entire section. You can see I'm in section settings, background, image has been selected, the image has been uploaded, and right here it says no background color. No color overlaying this image. However, if I wanted to make this a little easier for people to read this text, I can select this color and then change the opacity to be a little bit lighter so you can kind of see the image, but the text is really easy to read when you put that overlay on the back. Okay, so that's how you can get kind of a color overlay over your background images. Okay, we're gonna keep on moving down here. I'm gonna click back into the section. So again, we can see we have a text block. We have 3 features. Features means that it's a picture that goes along with text. And again, because there's a text block here, we get to have a call to action right here as well. So these are just 3 boxes here. So if I click into any of these boxes, this is a feature, which means I get to upload an image. I can have that image be a button if I wanted to, but again, it's not really clear that this is a button, so don't worry about this. Scroll down here, this is our text. We can see our text is right here, and we can look at the image style. So for example, the image I uploaded here, if I want it to be bigger or smaller, the image style is where I can do some adjusting by adjusting the image width. I'm going to close that up and go to the call to action. You can see this button has been enabled for a include call to action, and this is where I can direct people to where I want them to go from this button. Keep scrolling down here. See, this is a new section. I want to go up here to show you this is the section. If I wanted to create more space in between these features, what I can do is I'm going to stay in this section here and I'm going to go to desktop layout. Think about desktop layout as how does it lay on the desktop? How does it look like on the desktop? So notice first and foremost that this whole section has a padding of 80 pixels at the top. So 80 up here and then just 20 down here. So not much, right? Not much at the bottom here. So if I wanted to make this section bigger or more height, then I would just add more pixels at the top. So this is the fun part, is really you just get to kind of guess what you want and then nothing's broken, right? So you can change it. If I say, ooh, that's too much spacing, I'm going to drop that down to 100, which is the usual. That looks pretty good. So if I like that spacing for the overall section, I'm going to hit save, and then I can do the same thing with each of these blocks. So for example, I'm going to click into this first block here. If I want more spacing on either side of it, I'm going to scroll down to, again, desktop layout, and find that there's inside spacing, so the space between the actual text and the outline, but I also have outside spacing. So if I want to add a little more spacing on the right, maybe I want 20 pixels there, you can see it's going to give me more space there. I've added 20 pixels between the outline and the edge of that block. Okay, so that's how you can add more spacing to individual content blocks as well as the entire section. All right, so the last thing I wanted to point out on designing your pages is that you can have an animation. Okay, so if you want something to kind of show up as someone scrolls to it, so for example, this block I want to show as we're scrolling to it, I'm going to click on the block itself. I'm going to go to block settings and find animation, and then I'm going to select the type, which I just like a simple fade. Direction is none, which means it's just going to appear. There's no direction it's coming from. I'm going to do an automation delay of 0.5 seconds and a duration of 0.5 seconds. And then for this next one here, I'm going to click on it, scroll down to automation, fade. We're going to do a delay for, let's do 1 second. It's going to take a little bit longer, and then 0.5 again for how long that animation takes. So if I were to click save and click on preview, you can save and preview anything. So this is really what I do when I'm designing a website, is I'm constantly saving preview, because I want to see what it really looks like when someone comes to it. There we go. Okay, so you can see how that animation happened. All right, so I hope that gives you more confidence on how easy it is to really play as you are creating your website. You have this full checklist here to know exactly what you need to do first and foremost. And I also give you some Kajabi pro tips. One is, if you want a website that looks a little different, go to Etsy and search Kajabi website templates to find some beautiful website templates that are going to be very similar to the same exact way that you edit a Kajabi template. You're just going to upload those zip files to Kajabi, then get editing, just like I showed you. Next is for you to use the desktop view and mobile view, those two little icons at the top that I showed you, to check the visual layouts. And again, if you find that you need to redesign something for mobile, then you can duplicate the section and then hide those sections from the different layouts. Use desktop layout to adjust all spacing, including the same for mobile. So if you created a section just for mobile and you want to change up the spacing, you can do the same thing in the mobile layout. But the desktop layout is where you're going to be able to adjust all the spacing. You remember to hover over that eye icon on an image upload area to actually see the recommended dimensions. Okay, scrolling down here, I have a full checklist for you for how I get started in designing a new website by first making sure we have a lead funnel created, setting up the branding in your site settings, make sure you have your Canva site ready to go. You're going to select a template and then create your navigation menus, and then what pages to go ahead and design and work through, and then the SEO and social sharing and URL setup. I'm going to show you these last two steps right now so that you can go ahead and dive in with full confidence. So your SEO and social sharing, let me scroll over back to our Kajabi area. To do that, you have to actually leave your website editor. So I'm going to back out of my website editor here, and I'm going to go into a website page. So you can only set up your SEO and social sharing for the template that is currently set as live. So I'm going to go into my actual website template here, and I can actually go to one of these pages. Let's say this page here. I can hover over the triple dots and find edit details. So clicking on edit details, I now have my page title. I have the URL slug, which is that backslash. It's set as publish. And if I scroll down here, this is where I can find the SEO and social sharing section of that page. So what I like to do is use our AI friend like ChatGPT and just ask ChatGPT to come up with some SEO rich page description for this page. I'll give them a little description of what this page is, and I'll also tell it to go make sure that the SEO page description is less than 160 characters. So whatever prompt it gives me, it's going to do a little bit of keyword research for me, and then it's going to give me a nice page description to plug in here. Easy peasy. The second thing I'll do is I'll go to Canva and I'll create a nice cohesive image, probably the similar image for every page with a slight difference maybe, to create as my page social sharing image. So when you share this particular link anywhere online, if you are emailing it, if you're sending it in socials, if you are chatting with someone and send it to them in text message, you don't want it to come up with just Kajabi branding. It's going to pull whatever picture you put right here. So this is your social sharing image. All right. And just a reminder, your SEO page description here, this is what pops up when someone searches, like on Google. This is the description that pops up. Okay. So that's where you go to set up your SEO and social sharing details for each page. And the last thing I want to point you to is when you have your entire website set up and you've went to design and set that template as live, the last thing you need to do is go back to your settings. You're going to go into your site details here, and this is where you tell Kajabi what page you want people to go to when they type in your main URL. So to do that, we're going to scroll down here, and remember when I skipped over the homepage part and went to branding? This is the homepage part. So you can actually design your entire homepage on a regular landing page like I did. I wanted more flexibility. So instead of using Kajabi homepage template, I went ahead and created my own landing page and created my homepage. And I'm directing people directly to this homepage that I named home for my own reference when they type in my URL, my main URL. If I did not want them to go a homepage, I have other options. I can have them go directly to my store, which I don't recommend because people are usually not ready to buy right immediately. You can have people go directly to a library. This is where they need to log in. So they'll actually go to the login page first. This is what happens sometimes when people are not using Kajabi websites. They have their website somewhere else, but they're using the rest of Kajabi for everything else. Then they'll have people go directly to this library page, the login page. Like I said, you can have people go to any landing page that you've created, or you can have them go to that template homepage. This is the homepage that's in your website pages or your system pages, and you can direct people directly to that homepage. That's what you have to set up in order for people to go to the right place when they type in your URL. Okay, I hope this was super helpful for you. Make sure to grab this entire resource. I really want to make sure that you are able to easily implement all these steps without having to watch this video over and over again, or at least having a guide or a implementation resource for you to actually put these steps into practice. It's the teacher in me. I want to make sure that's as easy as possible for you to go implement and try out on your own. If this was helpful for you, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I try to provide truly helpful videos for you to take your earned knowledge and turn it into monetized products and programs all in one streamlined system, Kajabi, so you don't want to miss out future videos. And remember to grab that 30-day trial link if you're looking at more Kajabi as your main place to build your entire business. I will see you in the next one, friend. Bye.